America's Secret Destiny, presenting the evidence that America was set upon a secret course by our founding fathers. Delivered on July the 18th, 2007. Part 1 of 4. My name is Ralph Epperson, and I will be the one presenting this material. Let me explain first that this is a PowerPoint presentation computer program, and it will not allow me to change slides while I am speaking. So this might sound a little disjointed, and there will be short gaps while I am changing slides. I want you to know that I am granting you permission to make copies of all parts of this DVD, and if you agree with me, may I suggest that you put it on the internet so that others may learn the truth about America's past. I would like to start with the remembrance of a fine young man I met named Willie Solis. I first met him in 1983 and was instantly impressed with his opposition to the evils of communism. He was a Costa Rican who was photographed as he burned a flag in his town square, but the flag he burned was not the American flag, but the Russian flag. This was right after the world was taught that the Russians had shot down the Korean Airlines flight number 007 carrying 268 civilians and American Congressman Larry McDonald. So Willie decided to show his contempt for Russia's action by publicly burning their flag. That act certainly did not endear him to the communists in Costa Rica. I dedicated my second book to Willie with these words. I dedicate this book to Willie Solis, a freedom fighter from Costa Rica, who loved freedom so much he was willing to pay the ultimate price for it. And he did. He was murdered by the communists. Willie Solis, 1962 to 1984, we miss you. By the way, for your information, that plane was not shot down by a Russian missile. The plane landed and the passengers and the congressmen were taken captive and placed in concentration camps. Our government lied to us. And I have provided more details about that episode in my DVD entitled No Nukes But U.S. Nukes. I'm going to speak about America's Secret Destiny, something I first discovered in 1985 when I started studying the symbols on the back of our dollar bill. I would dare say that this speech will not be very pleasant to hear, because what I have found is very disturbing, because I have discovered the evidence that our founding fathers were not great and noble men as we have been taught. And when I first found this, I questioned my research, because I had a great deal of difficulty in accepting this premise. And I believe that you will question it as well once you hear the material. Therefore, I would like to ask each of you to serve on a jury. That means I am asking you to be open and listen to all the evidence I will present before you reach a verdict. That is all I can ask. So if you will do that, I will say that this speech will be one of the most important you will ever hear. I wrote a booklet entitled America's Secret Destiny in 1995 based upon 32 years of research, and in that booklet I discussed the evidence that I had found that our founding fathers dedicated this nation to a secret destiny in at least 1782 in a thing that they called the New World Order. That was the theme of a comment made by Henry Kissinger, America's Secretary of State, during the presidency of Richard Nixon. He was quoted as saying that America is uniquely endowed to play a creative and decisive role in the new order which is taking form around us. So Mr. Kissinger was saying that America would lead the world into this thing called the New World Order. and he said this in 1975. And according to the Birmingham News, it wasn't until the night of September the 11th, and according to the Birmingham News, it wasn't until the night of September the 11th, 1990, that President George Bush, the father, addressed the nation and claimed that the Gulf War had forged a new world order. He said something to the effect that the Persian Gulf crisis would lead to a new world order, but he failed to explain what he meant by those words. By the way, notice that this speech was delivered on September the 11th, the date of the World Trade Center attack on 9/11. I am certain it is just another coincidence. All of the signs that I was reading during those years indicated that the New World Order desired by this nation's founding fathers and President George Bush was scheduled to start on January the 1st, 2000. And this obviously did not occur. However, that does not mean that my research was incorrect. It means that another date has been selected and that this date has truly been kept secret from legitimate researchers such as myself. It is possible that the publishing of this booklet back in 1995 and others of my books and videos convinced the conspirators to suspend their target date, because the New World Order did not start on January the 1st, 2000. And even today, in 2007, I do not know why they did not do what they had promised. I started exposing the New World Order in 1985 when I toured America on a 91-city, 31-state speaking tour with my first book, entitled The Unseen Hand. The title of my speech was Secret Societies and the New World Order. Notice that this was in 1985, 5 years before George Bush first mentioned the phrase in 1990. There is absolutely no way that I can prove that any of my works caused them to change their plans, but my critics cannot prove that it did not either. You will have to decide for yourself. However, I do know that in the past, this conspiracy has altered their plans because they had been made public by some legitimate historians who found them. Let me impress upon you that these people are committed to achieving their goal and that the New World Order will occur, but at a later date. And let me add that I believe that this date is very near. I first started questioning the history that I had been taught in school in 1962 after a friend of mine suggested that I start reading